So we're getting started on the cataract surgery, and this is the 10,000th cataract surgery that I've ever done. I've been keeping a logbook since I was a resident, and so it's kind of a little bit of a landmark. The first one was 15 years ago, and we're doing them a little more frequently now. Here at the Black Hills Regional Eye Institute, we do in the thousands of cataract surgeries every year between all the different surgeons who work here. And cataract surgery is a very common procedure. It is the most common outpatient surgical procedure that it is done in the country. We're lucky that in our country, in the U.S., we have access to care that provides this type of procedure. Worldwide, cataracts are still the leading cause of blindness because in many countries they don't have access to it, and so the cataracts become severe enough that people actually can't see. And the nice thing about a cataract surgical procedure is that it can restore sight. So for me, the bigger deal is not necessarily my own personal accomplishment of having done this procedure a large number of times, but it's to think about the large number of people who have improved vision because of this really great procedure that has been developed very rapidly over the last few decades. So when we take out a cataract, we're actually taking out the natural human lens, because that is what has become cloudy. And the natural lens is made out of proteins, and ideally they stay clear. Throughout our life, there's changes in that cause it to gradually get harder and cloudier. So this little instrument that I'm using is a way to take out cataract by ultrasound. The tip of this instrument vibrates and it aspirates fluid and whatever else is in the way of the tip's needle, which in my case I'm aspirating the lens material. The lens material is too hard to just suck it out, but the vibrating ultrasound breaks it up. It emulsifies it into basically just microscopic pieces. So when we're done, if someone wanted to look at what their cataract looked like, all I could show them is a little vial of dirty water. Many years ago, the procedure was taken out, or the cataract was taken out by a procedure that required a much bigger incisional opening on the eye. And when we did that, then you would actually have a whole lens to look at. It'd be something about the size of a little Skittles candy or a mini M&M. The full-size M&M would be a little bit bigger than a lens in the eye. But with that larger incision, with the old style of surgery, we would have to put in a whole bunch of stitches to close it up, and the patient would have to be hospitalized, sometimes immobilized with sandbags put on the sides of their head so they can't move while their eye is healing because of the large incision and the stitches. Now we make a little incision that's so tiny that at the end of the surgical procedure it doesn't even need stitches. So right now I've got an empty lens capsule the capsule is the outer membrane of the natural lens, and when we take out a cataract, we leave that outer membrane there because we're going to put a new replacement lens back inside in the same place where the original lens was. This new replacement lens was one of the greatest inventions. First one was put in 1949 in England by Sir Harold Ridley, and the technology has improved markedly since that time. Prior to that, it was unheard of to try to put a replacement part inside, and the replacement intraocular lens paved the way for other artificial implants in the human. So we put it in through a tiny incision because it's foldable. Once it goes inside of that outer lining of the original lens, it unfolds and will take its position centered inside of the lens capsule, and this patient will end up with clearer vision because we've removed the cataract and we put in a lens that they come in different powers, so we can make it so his eyeglass prescription doesn't have to be really strong. In the old days when they left the eye without a lens implant, afterwards you needed those really thick glasses that are like Coke bottles. And like I was saying, the incision that we make is so tiny that it is self-sealing. So what I do is make sure that the incision is sealed, and we can also make sure that the eye pressure is appropriate. And so now we have an eye that the cataract is removed and the new lens is perfectly implanted. Looks fantastic, and this gentleman is all done with his surgery.